Welcome back to All That Jam, where music has no limits. We are joined today by Jared Sage Cowen, Big Shrimp. He used to be in Big Shrimp. He's got his Jared Sage band now and a lot of other stuff, doing some behind the scenes work. How are we doing?
Great. Thanks so much for having me tonight, Kevin. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, it was about a year ago we talked, and Big Shrimp had just been put to rest. You were deciding to do some other things, and you had just started with Roundtable. Why don't we start off with how the thing with Roundtable has been going? I guess you're still with them, right?
Yeah, Roundtable Artist. That's one of my 9 to 5s, and I love it. Uh, Repping some really cool bands as a booking agent, being on that side of the industry. So basically, just 7 years I was booking my own band, Big Shrimp, and when that went a different way. I was offered to come on board Roundtable Artist, and that was about a year ago now, or a little over a year ago. And yeah, it's been great. I like learning all every day. Just trying to also see myself in those shoes of the grind out there, and still am doing it, but
Mhm.
now with a little more perspective on it, and trying to just you know treat my artist the same way I would want to be treated. So
Right. You don't book a 500-mile drive in between gigs.
well, sometimes that 500-mile drive is worth it, believe it or not. Not always, not always, and that's what you have to learn, is that not every 500-mile drive is worth it. But we've done quite a few where it's like, well, we could play both of these festivals if we just drive 500 miles
Drive all
overnight.
night.
Yeah, so
I
yeah.
hear you. So you do you want to throw out the names of the bands that you're working with?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right now I'm repping Hot Like Mars out of Chicago. Scaper right out of Brooklyn, New York. Got the Jaunty in Colorado. Love those boys. That one's super special because I actually, like, in high school, like, they were one of my favorite bands. So getting to now represent the Jaunty is truly special. So yeah, I mean, it's an absolute blast, getting to do this for all these folks out there.
Right. I'm
And
2 out of
and
3 today.
actually and not to
Go ahead.
forget about Big Shrimp, because Big Shrimp is also a roundtable artist under the representation of Jared Sage Cowen.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I've had 2 out of 3. One Escaper has been on, Will's been on, and John T. I've had those guys on, and
Oh,
I've
right
been in
on.
touch with Hot Like Mars, and I don't know. I think we're lost in the ether
Oh,
somewhere.
I'll
I need
I'll
to
I'll
talk to
get
them.
I'll
You
text
know
Pat
I love new
tomorrow, and
bands,
I'll get Hot Like Mars on here. But
right?
they'll
And
be your
you
next episode. They'll be on here tomorrow.
there you go. You also got 2 new venues, and then we'll get into the music because I know people want to hear about the new album and stuff. But Westcott Theater and Wonderland, right? You're booking with them now?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm an assistant talent buyer with the Westcott Theater, a marketing director at both of those venues. Um, so it's very cool, different perspective on things. Similar. I mean, the same thing with, like, it's not exactly apples to apples, but like 7 years of promoting baked shrimp and marketing baked shrimp. Um,
You learned a lot.
I learned a lot, but it's not. It's this is definitely more out of my comfort zone, which is great. Like,
Right.
I thrive in situations like that. So, um, I've been having
Right.
a blast learning every day, and, like, with marketing too. It's funny because it's like marketing is something you go to school for. Like,
Mhm.
I went to school for music industry, so I did a little bit of everything: music marketing,
Right.
music management, touched on concert producing and all that stuff, right? But people actually, like, earn marketing degrees, right? So that's like, it's a big learning process. It's
All right.
you think you know a lot going in, and there's a lot more to catch up on, especially when you're booking these pretty big venues here. So,
Mhm.
but I learn like just about every day, like so
Yep.
it's
I
been fun.
learned marketing when I used to sell real estate. They always had somebody coming in doing like classes to teach you how to do things. And like back when Facebook first started, I learned all about it and the best ways to advertise on it and all this stuff.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh, it's
still
so much
kicks
different
around in
now.
my head.
Yeah, any AI program could probably do it a lot better than you can too now. So it's like
There you go. How's Connecticut treating you?
good, good. Connecticut music scene, the Black Rock music scene, Bridgeport. It's been a hell of a time. Coming up on 10 months, I think, or 9 or 10 months. Been here. And just I mean, there's just always music going on. You like
Who knew Connecticut would be the hotbed of music? Who would have seen that in 2019? Maybe the people there.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing though. It is like a really well kept secret because I mean, in 2019 it was probably stronger even, or
Mhm.
even like earlier than that. Going back to which I'll plug, but going back to the Bryac days of you'd have the Black Rock All Stars. This was going back, like I want to say the wrong year, and then someone
Right.
says they're wrong, but well before there was a Big Shrimp even, and so that was took place at Bryac on Fairfield Avenue, which is where my album release party is going to be at a week from tomorrow, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Um, so in that the Bryac's still going strong. And that when I first moved to Connecticut in May of 2024, I did a full residency there. So again to bring my album release there is pretty special. But yeah, Bryac is one of the like that. It was a thing there. They did the Black Rock Funk All Stars. Like every I don't want to say the wrong day of the week either,
Right.
but don't quote me on anything. I refuse. But yeah, Black Rock is an amazing music scene. There's always tonight. There's something going on at Park City. There's always um, there's always music going on. So
It's fantastic.
it's been great.
Well, we got a week from tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and it's Vectitiously Gracious is the name of the album, right?
Fixatiously,
Vexatiously Gracious. I'm not very
fixatiously
good.
great.
Letters like to dance on me.
Yeah,
So
it's all good
would you consider it a Valentine's Day album?
because it starts with a V.
Yeah.
I did not put that together, but I'm gonna say no. It's not a
Right.
Valentine's Day album. It just happens to fall. The Valentine's Day this year falls on a Friday, so
Right.
it's
You cover a lot of ground. You sent me the advanced copy. You cover a lot of ground. Why don't we get into how you approach this? This is your third one, so you had two under your belt. You're familiar with the process, probably more comfortable with the songwriting. You want to go into a little bit about how that all came to be?
yeah. So it's definitely a completely different sound, a different approach on my writing and creativity. Um, in terms of in terms of the other albums I've done with Baked Shrimp and with the solo. Um, then this was all recorded within like the last 2 or 3 months. Um, and yeah, just I don't know. It's a definitely a softer side of me. It's definitely a more mature side of me. It's not as it's not. It's only a 9 song album, so you're not really finding those like quirky kind of moments that I've been known to do a lot of times in my writing. Um, but and a lot of it was also, which I don't do often, but a lot of the songs were kind of written as they were being recorded.
Okay.
So usually it's like, all right, like here's the tunes, they're written. There are a few on there like that, like "Play the Part" and "Fixatiously Gracious" are both songs that I've uh trialed before to a live audience. Um, but a lot of these songs were kind of written as I was recording the album and producing the album also. So that's something that I think I've gotten better at. Now this being my third one,
Mhm.
I learned kind of where atmospheric things can work and panning and all that stuff. I end up just like having fun with it, with the solo stuff. With Big Shrimp, it was always, I retracted and and co-produced it, but I didn't really have my hands on it.
Right.
With the solo albums, it's only my hands on it, which is good and bad because
Mhm.
like
Sometimes it's nice
yeah,
to have another set of ears on it to say, "Wait a
right,
minute, are you sure about this?"
exactly, yeah. That's where you know you then it's up to the listeners, but um it's I've gotten pretty good at just producing over the course of these three albums. I've noticed some growth in it, and I'm sure, and I'm hoping in 5 years when I'm on my whatever album, I'm looking back at Vexatiously Gracious and saying, oh, what was I thinking then? So
Right.
yeah,
Right. Well, you have to look, I think, each one is maybe like a mile marker of your career. It's
yeah,
where you were at that second, and in that second, that is for you was the best thing you could do. You gave the best product you could.
yeah, yeah.
It's fantastic, fantastic. So what song what songs are you looking at as the hits? What song do you think people are gonna like
Um,
if you were gonna say if you're only gonna listen to one, this is your one?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I it changes every day. I've listened to all of them now, like insanely amount of times, and now I'm at the point where it's out, it's done, it's sent out for distribution. There's no more changes to be made, so it's
Right.
like so now I'm at the point where I probably won't listen to it ever again.
Oh,
No, but that's like with every album I've ever made in my life. Like any album I've ever made it's just like, all right, like put all your work and love into in the moment, and then once it's out, it's out. And
right.
I'm very ear fatigued from it as is, but I don't know. Every song I connect to in a different way. Um, like
I think the
yeah,
opening track, it really is. It comes out gangbusters, and I think it sets the tone for what the album is. It's called "Easier to Coast." That's the one I would throw people at, and I bet if they listen to that one, they'd go to the next one, which is a different sound. You didn't hold back any. You went with, I think, what the song demanded of you. I guess, huh?
yeah. So that's where I stay true to that a little bit with my writing. Like the nines, there are some that do blend in with similar genre, I would say, but I'm a big fan of Ween.
Hmm.
I play in a Ween cover band and one of my favorite bands. And what I've loved most about them is that every song is a completely different genre.
Right.
Um, so that bleeds into my writing a lot. And this album is of the less of extremes of other albums I've had. Like if you ever listen to Bubble Suit by Big Shrimp, um, that was like a quarantine album, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like a completely every single song is like completely different. Um, but that is where like it kind of stay true a little more. This out well, like right, like you said, like the difference between Easier to Coast, the first tune, and then Play the Part, the second tune. It's a different genre.
Right. Does
Um,
that make it hard to market?
I mean, you can say it makes it easy to market. It's marketable to everybody.
Right. Yeah. I got a song for you. Do I have a song?
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. So 9 songs. Is it going to be on vinyl, CD? How is it being
No, no
released?
vinyl. Not a
Okay.
single, not a single one of my solo albums I've ever. It's more or less like more. I take it very seriously. I love. This is my favorite one of the three that I've released. But more like these. I I'm the mixing engineer. I don't hire any professionals like other than mastering, but like I mix it, I produce it, I do the instruments, and like it's kind of like a hobby. But
Okay.
they're serious songs, and it's
And
I'm
they're
not
good. They
I'm
show
not
up
trying to go
live,
I'm not trying to go platinum with any of these
right?
solo albums,
Right. They
basically.
they show up live
Yeah.
though. You've
Oh
played some
yeah.
of them
Oh
live.
yeah. Yeah. They absolutely. I think just about every. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I think just about every song I've released, I've played live with a band
Right.
of one sort or another, not just solo acoustic.
Right.
But
I just
some might
I
end up
like
in. Yeah.
I like that you did 9 songs, which would fit. It's a perfect number for a vinyl album. I was talking to some people the other day about the advent of CDs and how CDs you ended up with a great album and then 30 minutes of filler because they felt like they had to fill out an 80-minute CD. You were smart with this and you have 9 songs and they're strong and they hang together, which is more than you can ask for from an album.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it is on the short side for me. Usually I'm between 10 to 12.
Right.
Um, so yeah, 9 is short, but there's no filler. They're 9 songs, not like there's no interludes
Right.
or anything like that. So
Something that wouldn't have been recorded would end up on these CDs, and you're like, yeah, that is not your best work, guys.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's you always that always comes a year after the fact, but
Right.
um,
It's tough.
yeah.
It's I read somewhere last October, November in this article that in one day in 2024, there were as many albums released as there were in the whole year 1989.
Between which years?
Last in 2024, in one day, as
Yeah.
many albums were released as in the whole year of 1989.
I mean, it's believable. Like this is you don't need to go into studios really to make an album.
I could make an album.
Uh, I didn't this album didn't touch a studio once. What I'm
Right.
using what I'm using right now to talk to you is what I use for my vocal tracks. Like, you know, um, just any yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of really good technology out there.
It is. So these songs show up with Jared Sage Band. That's what you're calling it now, right?
On Spotify, it's gonna be Jared Sage Cowen. So that's like all my releases are under Jared Sage Cowen. And then my bands that play these tunes. So I'm going to probably a similar thing to what was Jared and Friends last summer.
Mhm.
Jared Sage Band is what's going to be going forward as. It's basically I take like a rotating cast, regionally different sectors of the country.
Oh, right. You
Um,
went to different places and just
yeah,
had local people come out, which I thought was a
yeah.
brilliant idea. That's a great way
Oh,
to approach it.
it was so much fun. It was so I didn't played with some really fantastic people. Um, and a lot of it was there was a little bit of like a gimmick behind each one too of like each it was Jared and Friends, but like each band had a different name. Like we had Gulp of Pulp and Turd
Right.
Ferguson and Red Bread. Like there were all these. I don't know. It was a fun thing, and it was a lot of covers. I definitely did a lot of covers. Threw a few originals in there. And the bands I could say such an awesome thing about every single one of those bands. It was like really one, and I really put the solo tour. I just hopped in my Rav 4. No
And
one
went.
else had no merch to sell, so just me in a Rav 4 and going place to place. Um, and yeah, so I'm hoping to do more of that in 2025. So it would be as just the Jared Sage band, and probably with a more focus on the original materials. So the one I'm going to be doing one on February 14th on the day of the album right here though in Connecticut, and we'll play through the whole thing and do some other stuff as well.
It's got to be interesting to hear how a different group can approach the same songs, huh?
Oh, yeah, and that's also the best part because I mean, obviously, like with last summer, there's no rehearsals for anything. I'm not going out early and going to see the city, and I just don't. And, you'd be surprised, but I don't make that much money doing that.
Well, yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
um, but yeah, so a lot it's all done through group chats and whatnot, and so it is really fun to hear a unique take on songs that you hear or that I've played with maybe Baked Shrimp for a long time, and then hearing a different approach on it. Yeah.
Right. So what is going to be? How am I differentiating a Big Shrimp from a Jared Sage band?
Sure. Yeah. So, that's a good question. So Big Shrimp. Well, we just actually yesterday announced Henry Thomas is our new drummer. From also, really like to thank our brothers in Residual Groove, who we love very much, and our friends in Connecticut, for sharing the amazing Henry Thomas with us. But yeah, so Henry is going to be going forward as the new drummer. So Big Shrimp is myself, Max Parati on bass, Henry Thomas on drums, and temporarily we have Daniel Cohen on the keys. And so that band is the four of us, and basically it's a mix up of songs that both me and Max wrote. You might hear some old Big Shrimp material. We fuse a little bit of that stuff, but it is a heavy focus on new material that's been debuted since we've started this up a few months ago. So it's really like it comes down to the players and the material. So though Jared Sage Band is a rotating cast, it can be anybody on any instrument at any time in any city. The focus will be mostly on material that's probably within. But going forward in 2025, a lot of the material will probably be from Vexatiously Gracious, with some stuff from the first two albums sprinkled in, and some old Big Shrimp stuff. Probably not too much Big Shrimp stuff, just because we got Big Shrimp for that. But that I would say that would be the difference. Huh?
Now, is Big Shrimp ever going to end up in a studio?
Yeah, we're trying to hopefully get something out within the next. It goes quick now. It really does. Like this thing, Vexatiously Gracious, I only recorded the very first note of this. Well, we're in February. I think 2 months ago. So, we're hoping by the end of the spring we can get a studio. We did just release the prono tapes, actually.
Okay.
So the prono tapes was basically highlights from that we picked out from the last tour we just did. So yeah, that's on Spotify. So if you go to Big Shrimp on Spotify, or it's all those streaming platforms.
Now, are you using Bandcamp too?
Yeah. You go to bigshrimp.bandcamp.com.
I'd like to send people to Bandcamp because there's a way for people actually to give you money as opposed to. Well, what are your thoughts on Spotify? How is Spotify treating you?
Well, I mean, it's what everybody else that's probably on the show says. I mean, it's
a struggle.
I'm not Neil Young. I can't just protest Spotify and get away with it. Just like I gotta,
Neil Young
get my
came
music
back
out there.
Neil
He did
Young
come
came
back. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like,
well, he said Joe Rogan was everywhere and he couldn't leave all the platforms. Well, actually, you could, Neil. You could start your own. You are Neil Young.
That's true. That's true. I would put my music on Neil Young's platform. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, have you ever thought about like creating a platform that was basically owned by all artists? So there wasn't a CEO and there weren't stockholders or shareholders, and they weren't selling subscriptions. They were actually selling music, because my stance is that Spotify sells subscriptions. They could care less what you listen to. There could be someone eating beans and farting, and they would care less.
That there is that you can find that on Spotify, and they probably make a lot more money than I do on Spotify. I swear, it's
I
a
made
thing.
I made bad life choices. Oh, but like some kind of collective, an artist collective kind of thing. But then I guess you don't get the Taylor Swift, which drives Joe Schmo who doesn't ever really listen to music to these platforms.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that do decently or do well, are the ones that probably don't need it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I think sometimes, like there's Volume. Have you heard of volume.com?
Yeah,
They
I've
broadcast
I've
live
I
shows and
do. Yeah, there's a bunch of there's so many. It's impossible. I mean, I know I should because it's part of what I do, but it's
right,
impossible to know every single
right.
platform out there now. There's so
Right.
many. A lot of
Well,
people do Patreon and
right.
you know.
Volume is cool because they're free. You have to get a ticket. You have to click a link. They send you a link for a
There's a
ticket.
lot of those. There's a lot of
Right.
those like there is.
And they
Yeah.
have a tip jar. So if you like the band,
Yeah.
I mean, I watch bands all the time. I saw this band called the Reckoners. Never heard of them. They were playing at Nectar's. I watched it and I sent them an email the next day. I was like, you guys should come on. I loved what you were doing. So they got a fan from doing the free thing. Funny thing is, he didn't even know that Nectar's did it though. He's like, you saw us on what? And I was like, yeah, Nectar shows all their shows on volume.com for free. And he was like,
I
oh,
didn't know that. They
yeah,
do all their shows?
a lot of them, a
Okay, I
lot
was
of
gonna
them.
say we were there recently.
There's they have I don't think it is in Nectar's, but the one I'm going to watch tomorrow is Andy Frasco and Squeaky Feet's opening for him.
That's at Nectar's?
No, it's not at Nectar's. It's somewhere else. I
Okay.
forget where it is. But yeah, I mean they have a bunch of different venues they do. But yeah, the Nectar's one. I saw this thing once on there with about this woman Laura Nero. She's a great songwriter. You might even know some of her songs if you heard the titles, but it was a tribute to her with all these different people singing. It looked like a supper club. But I was like, this is great. It's free. Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah,
I have
I mean,
issues with paying. I'm old. I don't want to pay.
forget it when it comes down to watching TV too. It's like
Right.
there's just no winning. It's like you think you got all this, you think you got them all, and you have to subscribe to the
Right.
subscription.
I
Like another subscription within the subscription. It's
right.
you'll never be able to watch.
What do they
everything you want.
call it? Somebody was Karina Reichman. She's got a huge show coming up, I guess, at Webster Hall in New
Yeah.
York. But the tickets they were offering $15 quick pass, and everybody on Blue Sky was like, "What is that nonsense?" I guess you get to cut in front of the line like you do at Disney if you spend an extra $15.
Like cut in front of what? Like an internet line?
No,
Or-
you buy your ticket and then you pay an extra $15, and when you show up at the venue, they have a door specifically for you so you don't have to wait in line with the rabble to get in.
Yeah, I mean, I know Fish started doing like a lottery to get in front row
Oh,
or
right,
something.
for the rail people, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like something like that. Everyone's found out a way to upsell every single thing on demand now.
Right.
It's
Yeah, I wrote a paper in high school back in the late 80s that one day everything was going to be free, but you would have to pay for the extras. I was like, airline flights will be cheap, but you're going to have to pay for baggage. You're going to have to pay for waiting.
for a seat.
Right, for the seat itself and all this. And
Sure, yeah, the airplane's free, but you got to pay to go through the TSA. You got to pay to sit down. You got to pay to look out the window. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Right, and so it kind of is. I mean, you go.
Everything's a la carte. Life is just all a la carte, right? More or less. I mean, that's what. Yeah.
Let me ask you about AI. What you think about AI since that's become huge in the past year? How is it affecting your industry and your business? You think?
Oh, every day. I mean, I think it has a lot of great use, and it's here to stay, whether if anyone likes it or not. There's
They're putting the genie in the bottle.
AI is not going anywhere. It's only going to improve. It's only going to get better every day. There's another everyone's freaking out about something else that's coming up, about it being even smarter, you know.
Right.
Um, like I think we're a ways off before it's like growing legs and tearing your house apart and destroying the world. Maybe like 5 years or so, but no, but it's yeah, it affects this industry a lot. Of all sectors that I'm in, there it's very, but it's very useful. Like, I'd be lying if I didn't say, I use it a lot. ChatGPT could be very, very useful. It's when people use it and they don't even try to think for themselves. So they don't try to take what ChatGPT gave back to them. That's when that's when I'm able to tell the difference between, like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just, you use it when you need to, if I need to make a post on something, or just like I need to figure out another word for something, and use it in a professional context. Like, I take sectors that might make sense and use it in my own words and context. I can spot someone who just copied and pasted the whole thing right away. I'm like,
Dashes.
and it's hard. And you know what I usually do when someone sends me an email that's just straight up ChatGPT copy paste? I just have ChatGPT send it right back to them. And I'm like, all right, if you're not gonna put any effort into this, I'm not gonna put any.
Right. You know about the dashes, right? That's how you tell.
Dashes.
Yeah, like it'll have a word, like it'll say promote, and then it'll be a line dash dash dash, and then the next word's connected to it.
Oh.
ChatGPT does that for everything, and
Oh
whenever
no,
I see
there's
that, I'm
certain
like,
words. There's certain words, and I'm not gonna say which ones they are because I was, in case of anybody hears that, and then I mean that's how I'm able to tell who's just copying and pasting. So I'm not gonna say which words they are, but I do edit. I do. Part of my job is to copy and paste a lot of these band bios into
yeah,
websites, and
right.
I know what bands are just straight up taking the regurgitated ChatGPT because I've copied and pasted the same bio over and over and over for all different artists.
Right.
So, let's be a little bit better. Let's use ChatGPT to help us when we're stuck, but let's not like just copy and paste everything.
Have it be a crutch.
Yeah, that's right. That's where it gets a little
I
nonsensical.
Like WTMD, local radio station here in Towson, Maryland. I was looking through one of their posts today, and all these people were riding them because they had been using AI to do the graphics on the website. And they're like, you can't pay local people to do the graphics. You're all about local music, but you can. And they were basically like, sometimes we need something 5 minutes ago. And AI is the answer to that at this moment in our lives.
That's a fair enough defense. Something quick. Like, why not? There's a lot of tools out there. I can understand why. I could definitely. I definitely. Advocate for supporting local artists and support when you can. And of course, there's moments where you need something really quick. When it's easier to type a prompt in than wait a couple days for something when you want to get something out. Now, it's not okay in all scenarios, I don't think, but it's like I said, it's the way we're kind of heading. The goal is not to put artists out of business. I've never used ChatGPT to help me write music. I just don't
But
like
that's
doing that.
being done, right? I mean,
Oh
like
yeah,
incidental
there's sites
music
that
movies.
it's insane. It's insane. You could go to a website and it will just literally it won't just write the song. It will write the lyrics, or write the melody, or write everything, and give you album art within like a minute. It's really absolutely mind blowing, and some of it's pretty good. Like, some of it's like better than like a lot of music, which is like, I hate to say it, but it's true.
Right. But it's taken away the thing. Like, there's some musicians who, I guess, their whole careers were writing incidental music or commercials. All that's out the window now.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's out the window, but you know,
I mean, do you think
yeah,
Nabisco is going to pay somebody, a regular good salary or, livable money to create something when they can type in a prompt and have something spit out the other end in 5 minutes and have it up online?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying though. It's like where we're headed, and it's either we figure it out and work
And
with
get on
it,
board,
or
right? Make it work for
yeah,
you.
yeah, be the best AI prompt person that can write the best prompts. You
Right.
know,
My kid got mad at me because I told her I would put a tweet in there that I wrote and had put add emojis. She's like, "You're burning down the rainforest to add emojis." Sorry, Jake. I was like, I don't know emojis. I don't understand them. I don't want to be
yeah.
an idiot and put the wrong thing.
Oh, emojis are so big now. You gotta know every emoji.
Yeah, my emoji
100%.
game is not there.
Oh yeah, you gotta step that up.
So you got the show next Friday. What other dates do you have on the books, or do you have anything else you can throw out for us?
In the general world,
Either band, anything you got going
yeah,
on.
I think we're gonna be dropping a few big shrimp dates tomorrow. Nothing
Okay.
too crazy, just a few shows. But right now we have announced we're opening for Eggy at the Westcott Theater in Syracuse. That's on March 14th. Um, and yeah, so we'll have a few more shows announced tomorrow. We're going to be announcing a couple of larger scale shows also hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And then yeah, the Jared Sage band will also have a few announcements as well. But right now, I mean, you can go to jaredsagemusic.com and you can find all my acoustic dates. I'm regularly playing acoustic throughout Connecticut, so you
We'll get
can,
some links down in there.
yeah, just about any weekend, pretty much you can catch me around Connecticut playing solo acoustic. So those are fun.
Eggy is on a big upward trajectory lately, huh?
Oh yeah, I love those boys, fellow Connecticut's.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I saw them a few years ago, and I'm just amazed just listening to the progress.
Was it your pod? It was. I think, was it your podcast or is it someone else's? No, I don't think it was your podcast.
I had them on What Plus years ago.
No. There was a podcast I was on one time where they wanted me to listen to music and
No,
review it. That wasn't you?
no, that wasn't me.
It was a podcast I was on where they wanted me to listen to music and talk about it. And I didn't get to pick it. I might have been able to pick one song, and we listened to like 4 songs. And one of the songs they picked out was an Eggy song. And I was like, okay, like I'm happy to listen to Eggy. Let's go. I listened to it and I gave my thoughts. I was like, it was good. It was like really not what I thought Eggy sounded like, though. It was like really, really like psychedelic, like sounded like almost like early Beatles, like, or like it sounded like a mix of Beatles and early Floyd, rather. Like it was just like not what I thought Iggy was. It didn't sound even from this time era,
Right.
But I was like, it's good, yeah. Like, I'm glad the boys are going for a different sound. I haven't heard of this before.
Was it called Galaxy Jams?
No, I don't. I ended up, after the podcast was over, I was like, couldn't shake that. I was like, what the hell was that? And
Right.
I looked it up. They were playing the wrong Eggy. Yeah, it wasn't. It was an Australian band. It was an Australian Eggy.
You're like, that's cool. I like that. I love it. I'm gonna have to look them up now. I'm gonna have to dig them up.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was good, but I was just like, this doesn't sound right. Like, there was something in me that was like, I don't think this is right, And then I think later they ended up. I told them about it because I was like, just letting you know, because I think it was like a new. I don't know. They thought it was like their new release, and I was like, guys, you guys had the wrong Eggy, So
I think you got your Eggies mixed up.
So I hope it's the right Eggy that we're opening for in March. I don't know.
Well, if it's the other one, you liked them, so it might be fun anyway.
Yeah. Maybe we could get an Eggy bill going.
There you go. Super Eggy tour. No, I want to get Eggy and Space Bacon on tour.
Space
Come on.
bacon and eggy.
Yeah, Space Bacon and Eggy.
It sounds like you need some shrimp with that, tour.
Right, yes. You need to have a band called Shrimp Toast.
Shrimp toast. That's the next chapter.
That's the next chapter. I love it. All right, anything else you want to throw out before we wrap up?
Just
buy the album.
Yeah.
Go find it. Listen to it.
Yeah, find the album. Buy the album. Find it. If you can find it.
There you go.
JaredSageMusic.com, or you can find it on my Bandcamp. February 14th at midnight. And February 14th at Bryac on Fairfield Avenue, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Jared Sage Band. It's gonna be a hoot.
There you go.
Vexatiously gracious.
There you go. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
To everybody out there watching, make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends, follow us on socials at allthatjampod.com. I mean, at allthatjampod. And then there is the website that's .com. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long. We'll see you soon. Hang out for a sec.